Okay, so I want to go over the sentences that you did for the previous vocabulary words. Again, first off, we're looking at directions. Refer to the grammar notes. Label the sentences according to the types required below. Do not use words to avoid. In the sentences, you may write about any topic you wish and boldface the required syntactical part of the sentence, or it will be marked wrong. So let's look at these. I've highlighted the key parts of each sentence. So with the present participle, again, we're looking at ing verbs. This student has 3 of them in a row, but they're very good sentences regardless of whether there's 1, 2, or 3. Okay. The second sentence, or second set, 3 and 4, begin with an independent clause and contains a dependent clause. Okay. So here's our independent clause in yellow. It's a simple sentence in both. And then we have a dependent clause which begins with a subordinate conjunction. In this case, the subordinate conjunction until, and in this one, because. You'll notice that there is no comma in this sentence because it's ICDC. There is no comma. When it's independent clause followed up by dependent clause, no comma. In contrast, we go to the 5 and 6. Here we have a dependent or subordinate clause beginning the sentence, and we must have a comma. After becoming perpetually accurate, comma, although Ralph never capitulated to savagery, comma. And then we have an independent clause to create the complex sentence. Adverb clause, subordinate conjunction. Now we have infinitive in a compound sentence with a coordinating conjunction. So here's our infinitives in yellow. And then you want to make certain when you have your coordinating conjunction, one of your fanboys, you have a complete sentence on each side of it. Okay, we want to put a comma in front of it. Okay, Winston prepares himself for death due to the clandestine nature of his actions. That's an independent clause. So again, we have a compound sentence. To write in the diary illustrates thought crime against the state. That's an independent clause. So we're joining both of those ideas of equal importance with the coordinating conjunction. Okay. Relative pronoun, who, whose, whom, which, or that. We want to put commas around our adjective clause. That begins with the relative pronoun. Okay. And again, with any clause, we can remove it from the sentence and still have a complete thought. The bourgeois lacked the strength to suppress a revolution. The monster daunted everyone that saw him. Okay. Infinitive phrase with an adverb clause. So to write with an archaic pen is our infinitive phrase. And here's our adverb clause, begins with because, a subordinate conjunction. Yellow, infinitive phrase, to plus the verb, and then in the purple we have the adverb clause. 13 and 14, here's our adjective clause in yellow, again commas around it, and then our adverb clause is at the end, again no comma because the independent clause comes before the dependent clause. Number 14, in yellow we have our adjective clause in commas, separated by commas, and then we have our adverb clause, no comma in front of it. 15 and 16, we have the past participle phrase begins with ed, and we have our adjective clause that begins with who, and that's in purple, surrounded by commas. Again, in front of any introductory phrase or clause, you must have a comma after it. Restricted by the austere government, comma, Winston, comma, who conveyed only neutral expressions, comma, made certain that he did not display evidence of face crime. And again, we can remove any phrase and clause from a sentence, and we still should have a complete thought. Winston made certain he did not display evidence of face crime. 17 and 18 begins with the subject in yellow, and our adjective clause begins with the relative pronoun, again, commas around it. And then finally, our absolute phrase in yellow, noun followed by a verb. His mind numb, his face covered in disappointment, and then we have our complete sentence. So that's pretty much the various types of sentences and phrases and clauses that were asked for in this assignment. If you have further questions, you can return to the previous tutorial earlier in the year or come see me.